I need code 3 now. I got shots fired.
Hello everyone, Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching. I've got another Monday quarterback video for you. I'm going to play this video and talk about things that are going on, to better explain what's going on, and talk about things that I think that are being done right and or done wrong. Alright, let's jump into it.
Bay County 911, what's the address of the emergency?
Weber Road, Weber and 231, South Florida.
Okay, what's going on over there?
There's a guy in a red maroonish long sleeve shirt and black pants with a cane that is walking with a rifle. Not sure if there's that gun. Not even sure if it's BB, but I know a car went to turn off Weber just a second ago, and he took the gun off and pointed it at the car as the car was turning.
Bay County Sheriff's Office, where is your emergency?
There's a guy walking down at Weber Road with an assault rifle and a fountain.
Okay, what is your name? Okay.
I was actually just heading home because this is the same guy that was stalking me at my work yesterday.
Okay, just stay on the line with me. Are you close to Edward Road in Weber?
Yeah, I just kept driving. He waved at me and smiled, and I didn't turn down Edward. I just kept going straight.
Mr. Smith.
How do you know my name? I didn't give you my name.
I know you didn't.
reached for your gun. It don't work.
Mr. Smith.
I'm not reaching for mine.
I know you're not.
Reach for yours.
Mr. Smith.
Reach for your
Grab
gun.
that by the strap and put it down, please.
Camera on? I don't see no red
It's
light.
on.
Sure.
Mr. Smith, do you know where you're at?
Yep.
Where you at?
Bay County. I'm on Edith. No, is this Edith Heights? Nope.
It is not.
This is Carolina. Subdivision.
Okay. Can I take that off of you?
Huh?
Can I take that by the strap and get off of it?
You worried about it? You got a gun. You got two of them.
I know, you got two
Why
as
you
well.
want mine? So why you want just one?
Mr. Smith.
Hey, I'm telling you, you touched me, bro. I
Mr.
talked about
Smith.
this shit. Hey, one more. Hey,
Grab it. Don't you touch it.
Don't. Now,
Man, I got one at gunpoint.
No,
Put it down. Put it down. Hey, shots fired. Drop the gun. Drop it. I need code 3 now. I got shots fired. Hey, shots fired. One subject down.
We have this location.
Weber and 231.
42451 code 3.
Back up, back up.
471 Center. 25A covered Weber and 231. Hey, 4 route code 3 from Penny 231. Oh, he's in route. 6-8, Bay, if we haven't already fired EMS announced it.
Mr. Smith! Mr. Smith.
Hey, I'm telling you, you touched me, bro. I
Mr.
talked about
Smith.
this shit. Hey!
Grab it! Don't you touch it!
Don't! That's it,
Man, I got one. Gunpoint.
That's it.
Put it down! Put it down! Bay, shots fired. Mr. Smith, stay with me.
All right, so interesting. All right, so this is the area where it's occurred at. They were just past these train tracks, just right on the other side of it, on this side of the road here. So the guy was armed and acting erratically. So law enforcement often get phone calls from the public when some members of the public see a person armed with a firearm and they're doing nothing but just being armed. And there's nothing wrong with being armed, right? This this is America. We have the Second Amendment, and so you can walk around all day long with a long gun strapped across your back to your front, handgun on your side, whatever. There's nothing illegal about it. But some people are disturbed by it, and they call police, and unfortunately, a lot of police agencies just don't tell people no, right? Like, they still respond to a call. Now, this is not what was going on, right? Like, this guy was acting very erratically. He actually, according to a report of a person, pointed the gun at someone. But law enforcement do oftentimes get phone calls about people walking around with guns, and they still have to go to it. Now, like I said, this is not one of those things because this guy has apparently pointed a gun at a vehicle or vehicles and is acting weird. Now, he also had been dealt with the day before, apparently. And they didn't give a whole lot of details about the previous evening, but he was contacted in reference to harassment and trespassing complaint and exhibited agitated and aggressive behavior. And it sounded like one of the people calling 911 had dealt with this person the day before. So I wish that they would have provided some more information on that. And it would be really great to see what the body cam footage would have looked like from that incident as well. And this could be, it could be one of those things where he had the firearms on him and he was just simply armed and was just being odd, but was not doing anything exactly illegal to warrant them to take him into custody and or to remove weapons from him, right? So right back in the beginning when I talked about law enforcement lots of times go on calls where general public calls about someone being armed, etc. And there's obviously nothing illegal about bearing arms here in the United States. So when they had contacted him the previous evening, it could have been an incident where he was not doing anything illegal and they were not able to take any action. Now, it does note in here that he exhibited agitated and aggressive behavior. So, to me, that could, and I don't know anything about Florida laws, so I don't even know if they have a disorderly conduct statute or anything like that. If they do, if it's called something else, but I think that if he was acting in such a way that caused a disturbance, caused alarm in people, that the police there on scene could have taken some kind of legal action and taken him into custody and charged him with a disorderly conduct, or I think some places call it disturbing the peace or something like that. So there could have been something that could have been done. Now, with that being said, if they had done something, if they had taken him into custody or went to go to take him into custody, would that have prevented this incident from happening? Or would have kicked this style of incident off a lot sooner when they would go put hands on him and try to detain him, and then he starts fighting with his weapons? Again, don't know anything about the prior incident, don't know if he's armed, etc. But it could be either way, right? It could have jump-started from last evening, or he could have been sitting in jail during this time frame that this officer-involved shooting happened, and it never would have occurred. And taking him into custody and being around him for a longer period of time, getting him to the jail, doing the questionnaire stuff on him, then they could have potentially discovered some mental issue stuff to have him evaluated and see if that could go somewhere and having him committed somewhere. So I really wish that there was a better picture involved for this entire incident. So we only get to see a small snippet of the overall thing, and this seems like to me that it may be bigger than what we're getting to see here. Really wish we could see the workup to all this. Now, he is being called in by people as acting erratic, being armed, and the people don't know what he has. He technically has a shotgun, but because the way it looks, people think it's an assault rifle. This deputy responds by himself and, let me mute this real quick, pulls up alongside him in the car while this guy is still armed. Mind you, he has probably gotten the radio call on this, describing the suspect being armed, acting erratic. He obviously knows the name, so he must know the prior history on this guy. Must have known that the day before they had to deal with him, etc. Knows that he's armed, right? And so this officer pulls his car up right alongside him and then hops out with just a handgun. Not even a handgun drawn at that. This cop's lucky he just did not get murdered right then and there. It would have been easy for this dude, as he just pulled up alongside him, it would have been easy for this guy just to lift the shotgun up and shoot through the passenger side window at this officer. Incredibly stupid of him to approach like this. What he should have done was, number one, not go into this alone, right? Like, wait for someone to get there. And then secondly, get a long gun, right? Like, you're going up against a person who has a long gun. Why do you want to go up against a person armed, knowingly armed with a long gun, and all you have is a puny little pistol? Screw that noise. If you know you're going to a gunfight, bring a rifle and bring your friends with rifles. Rifles stop gunfights really quick. They do a lot better job than pistols do. There is a crap ton of people walking around today who've been shot with pistols, who've been shot multiple times with pistols. Compared to rifle, there is not that many people walking around today who've been shot with a rifle, let alone shot multiple times with a rifle. Generally speaking, you get shot with a rifle, you're not getting back up. Now, with that being said, there are people who've been shot with a rifle and are still walking around today. But as I said, not that many compared to a pistol. So yeah, he pulls up super close to this guy, does not have good reactionary gap, distance, none of that, and then gets out without even having a gun in his hand. This guy could have started it like that. And my talk about action versus reaction, let's wash this a little bit further, and I'll tie this into this later part as far as action versus reaction.
I didn't give you my name.
I know you
You
didn't.
reach for your gun. It don't work.
Mr. Smith.
I'm not reaching for mine.
I know
reach
you're not.
for yours.
Mr. Smith.
Reach for your
Grab
gun.
that by the strap and put it down, please.
Camera on. I don't see no red
It's
light.
on.
Son.
Mr. Smith, do you know where you're at?
Yeah.
Where you at?
Wayne County. I'm on. Edith. No, I say, is this Edith High? Nope.
It is not.
This is Carolina. Subdivision.
Okay. Can I take that off of you?
Huh?
Can I take that by the strap and get it off of you?
You worried about it? You got a gun. You got two of them.
I know, you got two
Why
as
you
well.
want mine? So why you want this one?
Mr. Smith.
Hey, I'm telling you, you touched me, bro. I
Mr.
talked about
Smith.
this shit. Hey, one more. Hey,
Grab it. Don't you touch it.
Don't. No fear,
Man, I got
man.
one at gunpoint.
No fear.
Put it down. Put it down. Base.
All right, so action versus reaction. So at the very beginning here, I was talking about how he has gotten his car right up to this guy and got out without a gun in his hand. And then up into this point right in here, as he reaches down and grabs the gun, the officer has the gun on him, has it drawn on this guy as he was trying to obviously reach and get it out. Officer has the gun drawn on him, and then boom, even with having the gun drawn on him, the guy was still able to pretty quickly draw his own weapon and get it pointed at the officer. So, there's a pretty good freeze frame right there. So, action versus reaction. Generally speaking, the person who gets to make the first move wins. It is hard to outperform someone who gets to make that first move. And when it comes to this line of work, the bad guys, unfortunately, most of the time, always get to make that first move. Law enforcement, security is always having to react to what people are doing. And so on your use of force scale, you're having to react to what they're doing. And you can't just, jump the gun, so to speak, and just start shooting someone before they've done anything. It would be murder. It would be excessive force. And so you have to wait for them to do something. And a lot of times, it mostly stays at the basic physical stuff, as basic physical force, and then rarely does it go into deadly physical force. But in this kind of instance right here, this guy reached for his gun and was unable to clear it, and so that gave this officer the time to be able to draw his gun and get it pointed on this guy, which is great, because had this dude got that gun out the first time, I don't think that this officer would have had a great outcome. And even when the officer had his gun out and pointed at the guy, the dude was still able to draw his damn gun and get it into the gunfight and start shooting at the officer. So action versus reaction. Action versus reaction. Generally, when you make that first move, you get your first hit, right? Like you're going to, most of the time, be victorious. So, at the very beginning, when he pulls up to him so super close and doesn't have reaction gap or anything like that, doesn't have distance in his favor, doesn't have the gun out and ready, setting himself up for failure. And some people say, well, you can't just jump out on people with a gun in your hand. That's excessive. That's doing too much. You're just a hothead. You're just looking for an excuse to shoot someone. Blah 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 blah. And those comments are coming from untrained people. People who base their opinions off of bullcrap that they see in movies and video games. These are people who have not watched over 100 videos like this, who have analyzed incidents like this, who've read through reports. These are not people who have watched hundreds of these kinds of videos. These are people who have not dealt with violent offenders themselves. So there's nothing wrong with getting out and having your gun already out in your hand, ready for the fight. Of course, it's situationally dependent, right? This is one of those scenarios where it would obviously be a good idea. Trespassing call involving kids roller skating at the mall? No, probably not. Probably would be a little excessive at that point. But this, obviously he knew the guy, right? He jumps out calling him Mr. Smith. He knows a little bit about prior history with this guy. There's an incident, this incident here, where people have called and said he's pointing guns at people. He's armed. This is a high-risk call. This would justify jumping out and having a gun already out in your hand, ready to deal with the threat. And so this the de-escalation thing that has swarmed the nation and has become so deeply embedded in law enforcement and security training. Again, this stuff is coming from those people who have not done this kind of work. If they have been, if it is being preached on and being championed by the people in this work, there are certainly people who did not stay out at the ground level, at the street level, so to speak, for very long. You know, they made it back into the office pretty quick. Or, you know, they just were lucky and have not had to deal with a whole lot of violence. Or, you know, were too scared and just didn't push the issue and never went kinetic on people. And, again, made it back to the office pretty quick. And I think that this officer starting this off with de-escalation in mind. You know, he's talking soft to him. You know, where are you at? Do you know where you're at, Mr. Smith? Hey, can I take this off of you? No. This right here is not the time to be soft. This is the time to establish command presence. This is the time to exert your dominance.
For mine.
I know
Reach
you're not.
yours.
Mr. Smith,
Reach for your
grab
gun.
that by the strap and put it down, please.
Camera on. I see no red
It's
light.
on.
Son?
Mr. Smith, do you know where you're at?
Yeah.
Where you at?
Wait, County. I'm on Edith. God, say, is this Edith High? Nope.
It is not.
This is Carolina. Subdivision.
Okay. Can I take that off you?
Huh?
Can I take that by the strap and get
Why
off it?
You worried about it? You got a gun. You got two of them.
I know, you got two
Why
as
do you
well.
want mine? So why you want this one?
Mr. Smith,
Hey, I'm telling you, you touched me, bro. I
Mr.
talked about
Smith.
this shit. Hey, one more.
No reason to be going soft with this guy. None. And so I think that this soft approach, this de-escalation approach, actually escalated this incident. I believe that Mr. Smith here perceived this officer as being a bitch. Straight up. That and I've seen this so many times in so many videos. Going back to the old late 1990s Kyle Dinkkeller, I think it was, in Georgia. Like that incident there. Going to Ferguson, right? You know, the thing that started this, you know, this whole mess that law enforcement's in, right? In that incident, 100%. A loss or the inability to establish that command presence, it's make it or break it. I mean, it's life or death. And I do think that there are many officers out there who just did not establish that, and it has gotten them hurt, others hurt, and or killed. And this de-escalation bullcrap is making it worse. Had this officer come in there being dominant, being more assertive, being alpha, I think it would have been a little bit different. Now, could it still have turned into a gunfight? Yeah. Potentially, yeah. But I think that it probably would not have. You know, everyone talks about de-escalation You know, we got to de-escalate this person, and we have to, you know, talk to them and be kind to them and be sweet and caring and loving and you know, de-escalation doesn't mean just that. De-escalation can mean putting fear into that person. If you can put it in their head that you're the last person they want to mess with, and you do that in a certain way, and they do not go to this level where they start to pull a gun out, then guess what? You have de-escalated that situation from going any further. If, you know, you've got a person there who's acting aggressive and hostile, saying they're wanting to fight, and you bring a dog out, and the dog's barking, and you say, I'm going to sick this dog on you if you don't stop, or if you don't, you know, go sit down. That person, most people do not, they know they can't do anything with a dog, right? Like, you can't reason with a dog. You cannot intimidate a dog, right? You can't fight a dog. Most of the time, majority of the time, they're going to say, I don't want none of this. They're going to go sit down. That's de-escalation. Did you have to be soft-voiced? Did you have to be using non-threatening words? Did you have to just go all soft about it? No. I mean, you put the you put the fear of dog in them, right? You pulled old Cujo out and said, if you don't sit your ass down, you're gonna get bit. And that's de-escalation. And you know, de-escalation can also be using force. Punch a motherfucker in the face hard enough, it may motivate them not to keep doing stupid shit. May prevent the incident from escalating further. So de-escalation is not just using soft words and using soft approaches. De-escalation can also be the threat of force or even the use of force. But again, like I said, I think a lot of this de-escalation stuff that is being preached the way it is today is coming from people who are unrealistic, have not done this kind of work, and have been in this kind of work, like they have not been doing the violent stuff, right? I mean, just because you're in law enforcement, it doesn't mean that you've dealt with a whole lot of violent individuals. There are street cops out there who have not been involved in a whole lot of violent stuff compared to, for example, someone who works in a prison. Someone who works in a prison who's only worked there for 2 months can have been involved in more violent incidents than a street cop in some small town who's been a street cop for 5 years. Right? So anyway, action versus reaction in de-escalation. So, and what is this? Is this like a flower print on this holster here? Like, what is? It's an ugly holster here.
Grab it! Don't you touch it!
No!
Man, I got one at gunpoint.
No,
Put it! Smith.
Hey, one more!
Grab it! Don't you touch!
So that right there, that should have been the green light to just start shooting. This guy has already...
Me, bro. I talked about
Smith.
this shit. Hey, one more!
Grab it!
Yeah, no. That should have been instant right there. There should be no, I'm going to point my gun at you and then continue to yell at you. This is no, don't do this or I'm going to tell you again not to do that. Don't do this or I'm going to tell you again not to do that. That's how people get killed. He made an overt reach for his gun to draw it. Clear indication that he means deadly intent. He's not pulling his gun out to want to have show and tell. Hey, look at my gun. Doesn't it look pretty? I bet it's better than yours. No. He's reaching for his gun to pull it out to commit murder. And right back to what I talked about earlier, action versus reaction. When this officer failed to shoot and gave this guy the second opportunity to draw the gun, he almost fucking died. Because this guy was able to get the gun out and point it at the officer pretty quickly. So the first time he reached out for that gun and tried to pull it out, that should have been the moment this officer ventilated him and stopped the threat right then and there.
Don't you touch it!
Don't! They're female!
Man, I got one at gunpoint.
No,
Put it down! Put it down!
And then,
Hey, shut.
Don't! They're female!
Man, I got one at gunpoint.
No,
Put it down! Put it down!
then when he pulls it out, and it's just a small microsecond or so where he does have it down, and then the deputy wants to yell, put it down, put it down. There's no talking at this point. Talking is out the window. There's nothing else to discuss. This is a gunfight. This is a fight for your life. The only thing that needs to be making noise is your gun. And this would be like the perfect time to do a sound clip from Waka Flocka, make them gun sounds. But yeah, like there's no talking. No talking. The only thing that needs to be making noise is your gun.
Hey, shots fired. Drop the gun! Drop it!
And so now we are in a gunfight around a vehicle. And so gunfights in and around vehicles happen a lot. And there are some unique things about them that make it a little bit different than, having a gunfight in the woods or having a gunfight in a urban environment. So let me back this up. So when we talk about cover, right, barricades or whatever, if you come out on your left side of cover and you duck down behind your cover, you generally do not want to come back out on that same side of cover. So I will say that once he ducks down in cover, he does a great thing and comes to the other side of the vehicle to come out on the other side of cover. And you can notice and see how the way his body is positioned, his arm is obviously pointing in this direction. He was anticipating the deputy to come out on that same side of cover over there. And this sudden movement has caught him by surprise. Because you can see him start to turn his head, and he kind of has that deer in the headlight kind of look like, oh shit, he just came around here. And then, as his OODA loop starts to change, you can see that he is starting to turn his body to return fire at the deputy. Or at least attempt to. And then this deputy continues back over to the other side to pop out on the other side of cover. And he kind of does a unique car surfing kind of move here. Jumps up on the hood, reaches over one-handed and dumps some more rounds into the bad guy. And we don't really get to see very well what that looks like because of the placement of the camera and it being chest level, and it's just basically pointing at the hood. Now, as I said, gunfights in and around vehicles make it a little bit more unique because one, cars do not stop bullets very well. They suck at stopping bullets. They can pass through car doors very easily. And that is not the greatest trigger finger discipline right there. But another unique thing about vehicles is they sit up off the ground. Right? The only thing touching the ground are the tires. This space right here, wide open. So the bad guy on the other side, who is laying down, he could aim under the car at the officer here and start shooting at his legs. And conversely, this deputy here could also just choose to drop down and fire under the car at the suspect, right? So he knows that at this moment,
Hey, shots fired. Drop the gun. Drop it.
So he knows the bad guy's down. He knows he's on the ground. So he could have, instead of running all the way around to the back, he could have, as he came up or came off of cover from this point right here, just drop down into a fetal position and just start dumping rounds under the car at the bad guy. And he would also be right here at this wheel area. So he literally could have just dropped down on his butt, be along his side in a fetal position, poking out from behind what would be cover at this point of the wheel, the axle, and shoot this direction under the car at the bad guy. He would be behind cover and delivering rounds into the bad guy. But to do this requires the ability to have experienced this before, to go through a vehicle tactics course where you shoot under the car. And unfortunately, a good number of our police officers out there have just never got to experience this before. The majority of their firearms training is standing on a flat range, aiming at cardboard targets while standing on a nice flat range during golf course kind of conditions. If there has been a vehicle involved, it's just them being able to get in and out of the vehicle, stuff like that. It has not been them shooting through the vehicle, around the vehicle, under the vehicle. And so there's a lot of great training value when you get to take a vehicle, put it on the range, and play with it. Sit inside the car. You know, when it comes to the vehicle tactics classes, like the thing that gets everyone hard is shooting through the windshield, right? Like that's the Disney effect of vehicle tactics classes. Like, I get to shoot through a windshield. Oh yeah, right? So, you know, get that out the way. You know, of course, you know, do that in the class. But, you know, some of the better stuff in this class is getting the students to take different positions around this car and shoot from under the car, shoot around the car, shoot through the car, right? Like, just do all this kind of stuff with the vehicle. So lots of training value for vehicle tactics, and unfortunately just so many law enforcement officers don't have that experience or that luxury to be able to experience that. If you get the chance to do some stuff around vehicles, I highly recommend it because it can be a game changer for you. And it could have been something this deputy could have used to minimize his risk of being shot, right? Because when he comes around to this side of the vehicle, you know, yes, he is behind the vehicle, so to speak, but this vehicle is not stopping bullets very well. Like this back hatch panel, this side quarter panel, whatever, bullets will go straight through that. This is just concealment at this point, right? Like he's concealing some of his body. Bullets go right through this part. But like I said, I did like how he, instead of trying to poke out from that same side over there, came over here and chose a new side to emerge from. And as you can see, I do believe it caught this dude by surprise.
Hey, a shot's fired. One subject down.
So this would be the point where I would say it would probably be a good idea to do a reload. Guy's down, doesn't look like he's moving right. You fought, you assess. You know, you could say you're going to do a scan, look around, and now top off, right? Like you need to top off, get that gun ready to fight some more. We, from playing this video multiple times, know that he didn't fire a whole lot of rounds. But in the moment, you may have no idea how many rounds you fired. You may think you have an idea, but you may be way off. Lots of times when people are interviewed after a self-defense shooting, you know, they're asked how many rounds you fired. Sometimes they give a low count and they actually had a high count. Sometimes they gave a high count and they didn't really fire that many and they had a low. Sometimes some people get it pretty accurate or pretty close and or actually accurate on their round count. But the majority of them, they're off by some degree. So you may be thinking that you only fired a few rounds. You may be even sure in your head, I'm pretty sure I only fired 3 rounds. But because of how the brain reacts under fight, flight, freeze response, you may have fired 13 rounds and it's not registering to you. Like you may not fully recognize or fully understand that you just fired 13 rounds. And in your head, you're thinking confidently you probably only fired but a few rounds. So you always want to top off. Always want to top off. And this would have been probably a good opportunity for him to do so.
We have this location.
Weber and 231.
25-8.
So it looks like he was trying to get the long gun into the fight. And yeah, had he been able to get this thing into the fight, it may not have worked out good for this officer. So when this officer did decide to go kinetic, he kept the fight pressed on this guy, moved quickly, and put rounds into the bad guy to stop the threat. Had he got this thing up and working, it would have sucked. And so, like from this angle, you know, you can't see it very well because of the body camera and everything, and its placement. But for him, he was able to see that this guy's holding this gun like that. And so I think that even as he has come around right in here and can see that he is in this position of getting this long gun ready, I personally would not be opposed if he wanted to go ahead and fire a couple more rounds into this guy, just to be on the safe side.
ready for fire and EMS announcement.
Mr. Smith!
Open the car to get gloves out to go deal with this guy. And this is one thing I've complained about in multiple other videos. It amazes me how many officers out there who just don't carry gloves on them. Like that really kind of bewilders me, especially for law enforcement. How many times are you coming across people who are they're just nasty people, right? Like, you look at like even if you're not, even if you have not been in law enforcement, you know, just going out somewhere like to the mall or driving down the road and seeing someone walking on the side of the road or having to use public transit, like there are just some dirty people out there. And in law enforcement and public safety, you come across those dirty people. And sometimes you have to touch them. Sometimes you have to touch their things. And like, you want to have gloves on when you do that. Like, you don't want to touch them and their stuff and get their cooties, right? And then from the law enforcement things, you're dealing with evidence. Why do you want to contaminate evidence with you? So why don't you have gloves on you? And he's not the only one. Like, I'm at over 900 videos on my Monday quarterback playlist here. I've seen a lot of videos, and that's not just all the ones I've seen either. Like, I haven't even recorded all the videos I've seen and reviewed, but I'm over 900 right now, and I've seen quite a few officers who just don't carry gloves on them, and it kills me. Like, you're a cop, you need to have gloves on you. Like, stop this nonsense of not having gloves on you. Keep them on you. So we don't really get to see much of the medical care that he provides to him. So I don't know anything about this shotgun. It's a magazine-fed shotgun, but it's got an interesting design to it, and the end on it right here, I'm pretty sure that's probably a fake-looking silencer on there. I highly doubt that this dude actually had a suppressor on here. It's unique design. Like I said, I don't know much about it, but it is a shotgun, and so don't know much about what the shells are. Can't tell very well what these could be. They could just all be birdshot, but even if they are birdshot, I mean, birdshot's still deadly. But man, had this dude been able to get this thing in the fight, it would have sucked. I guarantee you it would have sucked. So they showed the rounds that the bad guy pumped into the car, but they also kind of failed to mention that the deputy shot his own car too. I don't know if any of y'all noticed that, but you can see the bullet hole right here from where he returned fire on the guy. And so that happens, right? That happens a lot. Cops have a lot of missed rounds. I think they said that he fired 7 rounds, maybe 6 or 7 rounds. I can't remember. So we know at least one missed. Of the other ones that he fired, how many of those hit, how many missed, I don't know. Again, I wish that would have been clarified. A lot of times it's not. But just know that there's also a lot of missed rounds from police, from defenders in gunfights. It's not unusual. All right. And this guy just has a crazy look about himself, man. Just like, you know, he's off his rocker. And then at one point, he asked him where he's at, and then he says, Carolina? Like, he just has that crazy look. Psycho. Alright, so not much else to say about this video. If you like what you hear and see, go ahead and give me a like and a share. If you have not already, hit the subscribe button and stay tuned for more Monday quarterback videos. Earl Henderson, Primordial Defense. Thank you for watching.